shot, Murphy, a chance for Colby Bishop, over the goalkeeper, off the post, and into the back of the net. Colby Bishop's done it!
Yeah, it has been a season to remember for Pompey, with PO4 playing host to some of its biggest moments. Now, as the curtain falls on the 2024-25 Sky Bet Championship, is Fratton Park the stage for one more memorable match. Coming up on a bumper edition of Pompey Plus, David Norris joins us live on the balcony as we preview all the action ahead of our clash with the Tigers. We look back at some of the season's most iconic moments and put our panel to the test in an end-of-term quiz. We'll be out meeting some of the Blue Army. John Mousinho gives us his thoughts as the season draws to a close. Plus, we'll have your final starting 11 and all the latest news and analysis live from Fratton Park. So, what an 8 months it's been, and a sellout crowd are here and a sunny PO4 to see the season off in style. For John Mousinho's men, one more chance to put on a show for the greatest football fans in the world. And the starting 11 is in, and 2 changes for Portsmouth against a side that drew level with the Owls last week. Killip once again starts in goal with a back 4 of Terry Devlin, Rob Atkinson, Connor Shocknessy and Connor Ogilvie. Marlon Pack and Freddie Potts are the holding midfielders, with Blair starting once again out on the right and Murphy on the left. Lang in that number 10 position behind Colby Bishop up top. So good morning and welcome to Pompey Plus, live from Fratton Park. I'm George Wedlake and it's a pleasure to be with you on Pompey Plus and on Facebook, YouTube and X as well. But just a warning, if you are watching on the socials, your stream will end in 30 minutes. So your best bet, hop over to Pompey Plus right away, create your free account and you can continue to watch the full build-up. And with me for the duration, they've already signed up, is Andy Orford and Paul Robinson. Good afternoon.
Morning.
Morning.
Yeah.
I knew I'd get that bit wrong. Good morning. It feels too early, doesn't it? I like it though. So, Andy, last week you were with me alongside 2 teams basically had nothing to play for. Did it feel like that, or did both teams still go for it in a way?
It's a good point, and they did go for it. Sheffield Wednesday had a lot of possession. Pompey were quite dogged in their defensive display, let's say, and a good point on the road. Yeah, there wasn't too much to play for, but I said on the show, George, when you play for Pompey, there's always something to play for, because the fans demand that of you every game, whether it's a dead rubber or not. I'm pleased today that there is a little something on the game, you know, for Hull especially, and I think that can focus Pompey a little bit more. But yeah, good point last week, decent performance, had a go. Back at Fratton today, and it all changes here, as we know. The points have come at Fratton Park this season, and hopefully we can round it off with a victory today.
Yeah, Andy mentions the dead rubber there. As, you know, from a mentality point of view, is it good as a player to play with that, you know, bit taken off, that edge taken off? Does it allow you to play with any freedom?
Yeah, you can play with a little bit more freedom. Maybe you might try a couple of things that you might not normally do if there were points at stake or you were desperate, you know, to really get a result. I think I've seen it this time of year. It can go both ways. You can either play with that real freedom, relax and play some unbelievable football, or sometimes I think, you know, if you don't start great, then maybe some players can drift in and out of games. I think the hardest thing is, as a player, as a professional, you've got that pride, haven't you? Also, as soon as you get across that line and the ref blows the whistle, as much as maybe you might be a little bit more relaxed in the build-up, as soon as you get on the pitch, as soon as you hear the fans here, as soon as that first challenge goes in, you're in a game, and it's hard then to stop those habits that have, you know, stood you in good stead throughout a season.
Just to mention a couple of players like Ben Killip, for example, and Harvey Blair, these games are a good opportunity for them, aren't they? To get some minutes under their belt and to show the manager and to show the fans what they're all about.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we don't know too much about Ben. Obviously played last week and did great. You know, he had no chance with a goal and he did very well, made routine saves, didn't have too much to do. But what he had to do, he did very well. And obviously Harvey pops up with a goal. Him going off injured last week, I was like, oh no, but thank God he's fit. You know, he's shaking that injury off. He's in the starting 11 today. He'll be masses of confidence, I think, from the goal that he got. He'll be really pleased to get that notch and get his career started off with a goal. And can he build on that today? Big opportunity for him today to say, look, Gaffer, next season I want that shirt out on that wide mark.
Yeah, Andy just touched on it there. We may, have had to deal with a Harvey Blair injury with 2 games to go and ultimately nothing to play for. There's always an element of risk, isn't there, still, at this stage of the season? Because as a player, you want to go into pre-season fully fit. You want to get everything out of that as possible, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. That's been part of John's decision-making this week, really. I think anyone that's been kind of managing knocks or struggling a little bit with something, or perhaps in that so-called red zone these days where they've played a lot of minutes and they're a bit fatigued, I think those players you see probably wouldn't take any risks with. I think what it has helped with as well, though, is perhaps say like Callum Lang now, obviously he's had a hard season with injury, this second part in particular, and I think then what it does is allow him to get a game under his belt and hopefully sign off for the summer, then having played those minutes, and then actually it feels really good as a player to think I've ticked that box and ready then just looking forward to pre-season. I think it's a hard one if you kind of go away, he hasn't really played any minutes and then you've got to start afresh, so be good from that point of view. And obviously I think maybe Atkinson, obviously his future here is uncertain, but it's a chance maybe for him to sort of maybe say goodbye to the fans, or maybe it's a thing to convince him that this is the place for him next season. So it's all those little factors that allow John to make that decision with those those objectives in mind, rather than thinking today we need to get a result and I have to get a team out there that's going to win us the game.
And talking of John Mousinho, I mean, there's been some tough moments this season. Let's not dress it up. There have been some defeats away from home especially that have not looked good, but the club have stuck with their man throughout this season, and John's just proved them right to do that. They've extended their contracts as well, him and Rich Hughes, to keep them there at the club, and we've also seen a lot of teams in the Championship maybe not following suit and not sticking with their man, and you've broken it down for us, Andy.
Yeah, look, first things first to say is thank God the football club stuck with him. I think we've got a very, very good forward-thinking young manager, and he's a good guy as well. I've said this before on the show, he's moved to the city, he lives in Southsea, and he's buying into everything. So as you can see from the graphic here, this is the amount of clubs that have changed managers throughout the season, in 17 in total, which is alarming really, isn't it? Some clubs have changed twice, as you can see. Stoke, Cardiff and West Bromwich Albion have actually changed managers twice throughout the season, and it's amazing really that what goes on in a football club. They're trusted for so long, and then all of a sudden you can be 20th or wherever it is, and they're gone. A couple of those were off their own back. Carlos Corberán from West Bromwich Albion goes to Valencia, I think, and John Eustace from Derby to Blackburn. So a couple were managers making that decision for themselves. But does it work if you twist? I'm not so sure it always does. And John's proof that sticking with someone, I liken it a little bit to Arsenal sticking with Arteta when he first started getting going. It was, should we change him? No, they've stuck with him. And look, they're in the semi-finals of a Champions League, and they might go on and win the league in the next couple of years. So I do think sometimes you've got to give them a little bit longer. Swansea are maybe the exception to the rule. They've gone from 17th to 11th under Alan Shearer. But after 44 games, where we're at now, going into the 46th game, these clubs that you can see now were below Pompey, and they changed. Stoke changed twice, Cardiff changed twice. Cardiff have gone. So was it the right thing to do to change the manager? Plymouth, Argyle, Luton Town, Derby, Hull City, Oxford have all changed, and they're all below Pompey in the league. So maybe a word to the CEOs and a word to the owners. It's not always the right thing to change, and I'm so glad we didn't. They've stuck with John through thick and thin. Like you said, there's been some tough times this season, George. Thank God he's here. Look forward to next season under him to build again.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do now is look at the league table. It doesn't mean too much for Pompey today, but that's always a good thing going into the last game of the season. Looking at the top half first, then Leeds and Burnley have both secured their place in the Premier League for next season, but there's still the small matter of finding out who clinches the title, and you can see they're both neck and neck on 97 points, and it's also a big day with regards to who bags a playoff spot as well. So we'll keep you updated on those matches, especially you, Robbo, today. Looking at the bottom end, we can see Pompey are sat there in 16th, 5 clear of the drop zone. What an achievement there. Cardiff, as Andy just mentioned, have been confirmed for relegation, and Plymouth Argyle pretty much down now, looking at their goal difference, but that should be confirmed later on today. But Hull have got everything to play for. If they win today, safety's confirmed, but a draw means either Luton or Preston have to lose for them to be safe. And if it's your first time joining us here on Pompey Plus, we always want to hear your thoughts. So drop us a message on our WhatsApp. Save it in your phone as well. It's just easier that way. 07457 413 694. And you can scan that QR code on your screen. And it's at Pompey on X. We can't take your calls, but send us your voice notes and videos. And a reminder, if you are watching on social media, the coverage ends in about 20 minutes. So again, head over to Pompey Plus where you can sign up for free and watch the show in its entirety. Okay, so we'll dive into the team news for the final time this season in the next few minutes. But what we're going to do now is have a look back at Pompey's final outing on the road and get the thoughts of the goal scorer, Harvey Blair.
You know what, honestly, I'm just buzzing with it. Obviously, it's been a difficult season for me, but I feel like with hard work and just the right mindset, I've got there. So I'm still not there, but I'm getting there. Literally, since I was like 4 years old, just graft every single day, just trying to get to this stage. And yeah, it came with a obviously wonderful ball from Murph as per usual. And we were speaking about it before the game actually, just if he gets a ball on the left, just make sure in the box. And yeah, I was there just to tap it in. Like, I didn't even know what to do. It's my usual celebration that I did, but I was just thinking, like, what am I going to do here? Am I going to slide on my knees? Am I going to do this? But yeah, it was amazing.
And Windass has dropped deep to retrieve it. And Windass is 40 yards out, driving to the edge of the penalty area. Lays it off to the right. Chance for a cross to come into the far post. Smith, the target. Header. It's still loose. Chance for Wednesday. And they put the ball in the back of the net. Callum Patterson. A miss-hit shot from the edge of the area. Falls for Patterson, who slams it into the back of the net via the crossbar, and Pompey go behind. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Portsmouth 0. Who goes back to Pierce Charles, and he'll chip it out towards the right-hand side. Looking for Windass, who's coming deep to receive the ball. And Valerie goes past Murphy, and then the ball's given away, and now Murphy's got some space, and Murphy's going to run into the Sheffield Wednesday defence, into the penalty area. Ball across, Blair, goal! First senior goal for Harvey Blair, made by Josh Murphy, put on a plate for Blair. He wasn't going to miss from there. Sheffield Wednesday give the ball away, and Pompey punish them. Another away from Hayden, want to go on his right foot, keeps the ball moving. Shay Charles to the right, plenty of blue and white shirts in the middle if Wednesday can get a cross into the box. Murphy is left for dead. Shot comes in and Killip will save that one very easily. 1-1. Hickway and Sheffield Wednesday try and come forward. Musava's come off the flank and gets in between two players very skillfully. Space out on the right if Sheffield Wednesday can find it there. 40 yards out, Musava. He's going around in circles, shoots, and Killip makes his first meaningful save behind corner kick. 1-1.
Yeah, he didn't really want to.
And hasn't, but Wednesday have it again. Bannon left corner of the box, into the area. Musava, chance, over the bar. Goal kick, 1-1.
It's just that.
Now to the left, where Windass has popped up. Keeps it moving. Hickway trying to break the lines. That's good. Chalabar, edge of the penalty area. Shot comfortably saved by Killer.
So that was the final trip on the road this season. Let's get the teams for the final home game of the 2024-25 Championship season. And once again, we have Ben Killip starting in goal with a back four of Terry Devlin, Rob Atkinson, Connor Shockley and Connor Ogilvie. Two holding midfielders of Pack and Potts behind Lang as the number 10. Out wide, Harvey Blair on the right, Josh Murphy on the left behind Colby Bishop. So, does Al Hayden make way, Andy, for Marlon Pack and Callum Lang today? Pompey clearly still going for this.
Absolutely, they have a responsibility to the league, to the other teams, to Hull City, to everybody, George, to themselves, to have a right go. And John's picked a very, very strong team. For me personally, I think they're our best two centre halves, Atkinson and Shaughnessy. They've both had their little injury problems. And like Robbo said earlier, I'd love to see Atkinson stay next season if we can keep him. Nice to see Marlon back in the middle of the park as well. I think for the season he's had, in the work that he's done, getting him back in the middle of the park where he wants to play is a nice thing to do. And obviously great to see Lang back. You know, when he did that hamstring here, it was, oh dear. But he's worked very hard behind the scenes, I believe, to get himself fit.
Well, he was supposed to be out for the season. That's what we were told. And
exactly.
Here he is.
Yeah. And it's amazing that he's out there. So credit to the medical department for that as well. And Lang and Bishop will be going for the top goal scorer.
There is something to play for them too,
massive.
Isn't there?
You know, Colby's on 11, I think, and Lang's on 10.
Yeah.
If there's a penalty today, there might be fisticuffs out there. I don't know. We'll have to see. But no, it's a good Pompey side. Obviously Murphy and Blair will provide the width and the pace out wide for hopefully the lads to get in the box and join in. But yeah, very strong side, and yeah, it's good to see that. John's gone that way. Look, if we're winning 2 or 3 with 5 to go, there might be a few coming off with a couple of rounds of applause. I'd like to see Schmid go on, actually, and get a nice little ripple for all his work as well.
And Matt Ritchie too. He's not going to be happy, is he, with being on the bench today?
There's a couple like that probably deserve a ripple of applause, if you like. But you've got to pay. You know, if it's a draw and stuff, and it's with what's going on, you've got to have the integrity of the league today, so you've got to be careful.
Just finally on the Pompey team then, Paul, Ben Killip in goal once again, and we've got Harvey Blair out there on the right as well. So 2 players that started last week, doing enough to get themselves back in the starting 11 today.
Yeah, done enough to get themselves another chance, but also perhaps for John, perhaps give them a little bit of a reward. You know, it's hard being that sort of number 3 goalkeeper. You travel around, you train, you do all of those things and don't get that reward of playing on a match day. So perhaps John wants to have another look at him, maybe thinking ahead to next season, but also that just, you know, a little bit for both of them, just give them perhaps a little bit of a nod to say thanks to you, your support and being there this season, even though perhaps you haven't, had a lot of opportunity to play.
And on Josh Murphy then, Andy, making his 42nd appearance for Pompey today, and you've discovered quite an extraordinary stat about Murphy.
Yeah, I'm going to give the credit to my son-in-law.
Can we give him a name check?
Lewis, thank you very much. He sent me this graphic actually earlier in the week and said, wow. And I looked at it and I was like, flipping heck. Like, apart from the young kid Yamal, who's at Barcelona, who's a worldie, isn't he, Robbo?
He's not bad.
He's not too bad, is he? 17-year-old now at Barcelona ripping up. Josh Murphy is the 2nd player it rated in the 40 leagues across the world for most successful dribbles this season. And when I thought about that, the context of that, all the leagues all over the world, our Josh Murphy at Pompey is number 2 in that list.
In a team that hasn't seen the majority of the ball all season.
Yeah, and it's quite astounding really that when I got that, so thank you to Lewis, and my granddaughter's watching this as well at home at the moment, so I'm going to give her a little shout as well if I may, George. Olive, she'll be loving watching that stat as well, because she likes her football, but she dribbles a little bit the other way down her chin though, not like Josh Murphy, can I say, so yeah.
But on Josh Murphy there, that stat, all the other stats, top of the assists in the Championship as well. Robbo, still not good enough for the EFL team of the season. What do you have to do?
I know, you've got a real bugbear on that one. I've seen that on your social media.
That's annoying you, George, isn't it, that one?
I just don't understand it.
No, I totally get that. Second half of the season in particular, I think he's gone from strength to strength, hasn't he? First part, he was a bit in and out, I thought, but we were all looking around when Lang got injured thinking, oh no, who's going to step up now and really take things forward? And to be fair to Josh Murphy, he's been different class, scored important goals at important times. I think he's looked a real danger on that left-hand side, giving a lot of right-backs quite a few problems, really like decent right-backs at the level as well. And I think what got to look back to is what an astute bit of business it was getting him on a free transfer at the start of the season, really, and bringing him in with his championship experience, but just someone with that real bit of quality when they've needed it. And yeah, I'm sure he can look back and enjoy his season. He's had a really good season, even perhaps if it's tinged with the disappointment of not making that team of the season.
He pretty much won every award at the Pompey end of season dinner, so that's got to make up for something, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure he's loved his time here.
And looking at some more positive news today then on the injury front, both Paddy Lane and Iban Bauer have returned to training in the week as well, so hopefully they'll get a full pre-season under their belts and we'll see them fresh again for next season in the Championship. Now though, let's look at our loan players. Okay, so Rob Atkinson then, on him first. John Mousinho admitted he would like to keep the Bristol City man if the option came up. Despite a spell injured, Atkinson has been seen as an integral part to the squad's success in 2025. Next, Adil Oshish played what was his final Pompey game at Watford, where he came off at half-time injured, struggling with a hand fracture, apparently. Now, the Sunderland Loanee netted 1 goal for Pompey against Plymouth. We don't want to talk any more about that night. And he's got 1 assist under his belt as well. Isaac Hayden has made 16 appearances and has been very well received by the fans, and he's enjoyed his time here, and it's a bench for him today. Cade Gordon played half an hour last week against Sheffield Wednesday. The young Liverpool Loanee perhaps struggling for minutes, and again we see Cade Gordon on the bench. Mark O'Mahony's another one that's on the bench today. He scored 3 Pompey goals this season in 13 appearances, not a bad return. He last played against Coventry, where he got 35 minutes under his belt, and he was on the bench for Sheffield Wednesday last week as well. And while we can never say never, it's unlikely we're going to see Freddie Potts out there at Fratton Park again. This could be his last outing today, and it's quite emotional, isn't it, Andy, to let a player like that go? But we understand he's going on to perhaps bigger things in the Premier League, but we haven't really spoke about him too much this season. Well, we have, but not the past few weeks at least anyway. But you've pulled out some stats on him.
Yeah, I think he's had a wonderful season. He took 3 or 4 games to get going, like a few of them did at the start of the season. We never forget that run we had with all the teams we had to play. But he's grown. He really has, for me. Grown in stature, grown in presence. He does a lot of the dirty work, as I call it, the unseen stuff that he does. He gets blocks in, he gets tackles in, he blocks off holes in, covers so much. He's like a hamster going round in a wheel. He just keeps running and running and running, George. He just carries on and on and on. And some of the stuff he does, I was chuffed he got a goal this season, because if there's one thing I think he'd like to add to his game, it's probably a few more goals and assists. But he got a vital one at QPR, as we're just seeing, to get us over the line there. And I think he's had a wonderful season. And in another role that I do, I've been fortunate enough to watch West Ham a couple of times this year, and believe you me, he ain't no worse than what they've got, in my opinion. So I'd be amazed if we could keep him next season, but I would love us to, because he has been a superb player. And when you start talking about accolades, player of the season and all that, he's in the mix. Yeah. Definitely. He's one of 5 or 6 this year that could have won it. He's had a wonderful season.
So let's talk about Hull City then, and how they're lining up today. Their starting 11 is in. So Robbo, talk us through what we're looking at here. Obviously a standout from a Pompey perspective is number 44 there, Abu Kamara.
Yeah, I think he's one that we're all drawn to, aren't we? Obviously had an excellent loan here last season, didn't he? He was such an integral part really of that promotion season, and a really popular figure here. I think if you look at the comments made in the week by John, by his fellow teammates, everyone was really grateful for the contribution he made, and I think that sometimes there was that little tinge of disappointment that they couldn't extend it here this season. But when you look at the money sort of Hull paid for him and what he'd done, I think that it was one of those. Portsmouth just never seemed like they were in the race. It wasn't like it was a decision made by the player. It was one made by the club really, who accepted the bid. This season I think he's struggled a little bit. He's kind of been a little bit in and out. He'd perhaps be disappointed with his return in terms of goals and assists this season. And I think even at Hull, I think they found he's had the most goal contributions, but if you look about his season, I think the way the fans even talk, he's not one that's really set the place alight. If you look at Hull, I think they've made a couple of changes from last week, but obviously they'd be really disappointed to concede late, especially against Derby in such a pivotal game, and especially at home. They're coming here today, and I think what they do seem to suggest is that whenever they've had a poor performance this season, they've normally reacted. I think with Ruben Selles, if you look at his points per game for the actual team and for the club, he's done really well since he's come in. I think obviously their first part of the season and that appointment early on in the season didn't go well, but he's come in, kind of settled it. But I mean, it's some game for them today, isn't it? And I think what probably surprised them a little bit is the shock of perhaps being in that bottom 3. I know they haven't had a great season, but I think they thought they were probably out of it, and now to find themselves back in it with 1 game to go, I think you're going to see a really interesting performance for them today, and one where, like I say, I think it might be a good thing for Portsmouth, where it's a game where Hull are at it, because it means Portsmouth will have to match that.
Yeah, so for the last time this season then, we're going to get the thoughts now of the gaffer. Let's hear from John Mousinho. We spoke to him earlier on in the week and started off by asking how preparations have been going for this afternoon's clash.
We've tried to keep things as normal as possible. We know we've obviously got a big game coming up at the weekend, and the most important thing for us is to make sure that we finish on a high and also get through without picking up any injuries. And I think it's a really important thing for us towards the back end of the season to make sure that we're positive. We end the season in a positive manner. We're 4 unbeaten at the moment, which is good, and I think it'd be good to roll into the summer with with that record extended. So it's been a really nice week. Obviously the sun's out as well, so a lot of happy faces.
What's the reaction been like to a good point at Hillsborough on Saturday?
Very positive, to be honest. I think that it's been great. We've got to get the right balance, because we still have a job to do, and we've still got the game to play at the weekend. So we have to make sure that we're serious about that, and we're serious about going to try and win the game. We know it's an absolutely massive game for Hull, and there's a hugely important relegation battle down at the bottom. So we play a part in that. We have to make sure that we do our job. But yeah, it's very nice to be out here in the sun, regardless of what the game means at the weekend. It's going to be as always. I think when we went up to Hillsborough, it was exactly the same. We wanted to try and win the game. The emotions that we felt as a coaching staff and as a team throughout the game were exactly the same as they would have been for any other game, even though the pressure wasn't necessarily on. But to be honest, the pressure's always on. You're always being judged, you're always being watched in terms of individuals, the team, the coaching staff, everything. So we have to make sure we put on a good performance, least of all because it's a massively important game, and we've got to protect the integrity of the league. The biggest game of the season for Hull, and we've got to recognise that. They're going to have a really big away following, and every time I've seen Hull this season, they've been excellent, to be honest. So it surprised me that they're down there. It surprised me that it's come to this. this with the squad and some of the players and some of the play that we've seen over the past few months and actually all season. But it's going to be a very interesting mix of, I think, Portsmouth fans with a lot of relief and hopefully in a celebratory mode and slightly different for the whole fans. It was nice last weekend to reward the travelling fans with a game there wasn't a huge amount of pressure on and a draw, a rare draw away from home. That was a good thing for us, I think, with the fans travelling all the way up to Sheffield, because it was one heck of a journey on the Friday and the Saturday as well. And again, to sort of say thank you to the fans on Saturday for their support through the season. It's been immense. It's been absolutely immense all season. We speak about it week in, week out. Sometimes, sometimes we forget how lucky we are at the football club, but certainly this year it's been a huge part of the success, relative success that we've managed to have on the football pitch. So I'm very grateful that we've had it, and we're really looking forward to saying thank you at the weekend.
So now our guest on Pompey Plus today is a club legend with over 400 Football League appearances, and he's the reason why the 6th of April is known as David Norris Day.
Long ball into the edge of the box. Resha wins his header. Shot on goal. Oh, what a goal! David Norris has equalised for Portsmouth at injury time. And the northern end of St Mary's explodes in blue colour. He used to be a waiter, did David Norris. Well, he served up the perfect cocktail here. What a volley with the left foot. Kelvin Davis stranded. It was dropping down with snow on it. Set himself. Wrapped it with his left foot, and a despairing Kelvin Davis couldn't keep it out.
So with 42 appearances for Pompey, David Norris scored 8 spectacular goals, including that one, and we're delighted to have him with us today, and we thought it would be the perfect time to bring out the perfect cocktail. So there you go, a toast to David Norris Day. But
brilliant, thank you. I've got a lot of stick off the back of that. one quote from a commentator.
It goes, it's history now around here, it's Pompey folklore. But it's been 13 years since you played for Pompey and pulled on the blue shirt. What's it like being back here at Fratton Park?
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I've been back once or twice since, but I love it. I love coming back. I've managed to bring my older 2 boys for the first time today as well, which is nice for them. But just walking down the side of the pitch then, being back in the stadium just brings it all back, and, it makes you miss it. But, it's such a nice feeling.
Obviously, you played for clubs up and down the country, like we just said, 400 Football League appearances. That goal against Southampton there meant so much to the fans here. It probably did to you as well. But how would you sum up your time at Pompey as a whole?
As a whole, I actually enjoyed it. It was a really tough time for the club overall. I mean, we was in administration, we were losing players, staff were being laid off. It could have felt a horrible season, but the way everyone, come together, the fans back the players no matter what the results on the pitch were. At sometimes we got a real siege mentality, and I look back on it with a lot of fondness despite it being a really tough season. So it's a special club. I was only here 1 year, which is mad for the affiliation I feel like I have with the club, but it's a special place.
Yeah, they love you here. If that was the only thing you did, you'd be a club legend. But before Pompey, you were a skipper at Ipswich, where you made over 100 appearances. So that must have been tough to leave them and come to Pompey. What was the decider?
Yeah, it was. I mean, at that time there was a bit of issues at Ipswich with regards to the management and who was staying, and a new manager was coming in and stuff. And once the time runs out, you're allowed to speak to other clubs. And with me not being sure, I spoke to Portsmouth. I liked what I heard, and I'd pretty much made a decision, to be honest, from end of January, February onwards, that I was coming here. I continued to play for Ipswich. I gave my all for them, but then I was looking forward to the next challenge, which was coming here.
So you obviously spent a lot of time in your playing career in and around the Championship. What a league we're talking about here. Obviously Pompey have been away from it for a while, but first season back, it's had its ups and downs, to say the least. But even when you look at the other clubs now, like the battle going on at the top there, still fighting it out for the playoffs, the relegation battle going down to the wire. What do you make of the Championship?
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's brilliant. I was just talking about it to my boys on the way up, and because we were doing all the permutations, and I said, even during the day, you'll see some teams go up, down, and they're back in it, and it's just every year it seems to be the same. It almost goes down to the wire, whether you're going to be in a relegation battle or you've got a chance of getting in the playoffs and promotion. So it's a hell of a league. It's not one to go out of, so I'm so glad that Pompey have stayed up, because I just feel that the Championship is so much better than League One just to be involved in, and so that it's been key that they've stayed up. And yeah, it's a hell of a league.
Yeah, and it's been a hell of a season for Pompey as well. It's been a memorable one for sure. Have you been following much of their story?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I always follow their results. I try and watch them when I can. But yeah, I always do. And like you say, it's been up and down. There was a period where they won the 3 games in a row, where you thought, right, okay, that's it, just a few more points and we'll be okay. Then it felt like we got dragged back into it, and then it was going to be dicey, and I just thought, you don't want to come here on the last day of the season needing a result, with Hull probably needing a result as well. So the pressure was off, we can relax and probably just enjoy it and focus on for next season now.
Yeah, but Andy?
Chuck, great to see you, mate.
You too, mate.
We're going to have a South Coast derby next year,
yeah.
Obviously, and as George has said, you're remembered for that goal forever. Are you going to come down, first of all, if we could get you down again? Maybe we could go out there and reinvent that goal, maybe. I don't know if you've got that in the locker anymore.
I didn't have it then. I don't know how that happened.
But it'd be great to see it. And just tell us about, we're going to experience it again next year for the first time in a long time. Just tell us a little bit about what that's like to play in that derby.
Yeah, it surprised me, to be honest. I'd played in derbies before. I had the Ipswich Norwich one, and it was nothing like this, to be honest. This was a hatred. You could feel it building up weeks before. On the journey down on the coach, we obviously had the police escort. We were getting abuse and things thrown, and you could just feel that like this means everything. As much as whatever's happening this season with administration and everything else, if we get something from these 2 games, the fans will almost forgive us, because that's how much it means to them. And we knew that, and we felt that, and we had a couple of local lads as well, which helped, because they made sure that everything was, everyone else knew as well. But yeah, to get it back, it is nice. Now, obviously for me, I've enjoyed milking being the hero for the last 12 years, whatever it is, but it's probably time for someone else now, and they've got a chance. That's what they've got to think. I've got a chance to make myself, a hero here, because that's how important this game is, and it'll be so good for the fans to have that rivalry back on a more of a level playing field. I know there was the cup game, but the gap was too big then. This will be a lot more important.
Brilliant, thank you, mate.
Yeah, David, good to see you. Obviously, as fit as a fiddle still. Like I say, a couple of questions. Obviously, you're playing Monday, aren't you? Embarrassing a few with your fitness and that, I'm sure. But are you going to carry on playing yourself? Because I know you've still been playing this season, so I was just wondering, are you going to carry on playing next season as well?
No, I don't think so, mate. No, just before Christmas, I stopped. I picked up an Achilles, a calf injury. Took me a while to get back, and then I'm back out in the field doing my own running at 44 years old with my boots on and cones, and I'm thinking, what are you doing here? Come on, you've got to let it go at some point. But I have enjoyed it. I will still play charity games and other games, ex-pro games, and maybe the odd vets game and stuff. So I'll still play, but yeah, probably not at a competitive level.
Yeah, no, I'll get you. It's one of those, the heart always wants things, I can play, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then the body says, no.
Yeah, I think I can play today. I think I can go out there and do a job, but I know for the next 2 weeks I'll be in total turmoil.
We'll have you back for the South Coast derby next season. Just do that again for us, that would be great. On to today, can I get a prediction for you before we let you go?
Yeah, I think Pompey win. Obviously, sometimes you can play better with a little bit of pressure off. Being at home, last game of the season, you'd like to think the lads will be up for it and put on a performance. I know Hull need a result, so it adds a bit of twist to it, but I think a 3-1 win, me.
3-1 win. Lovely. We hope so indeed.
Yeah.
So thank you very much to David Norris. There's still plenty to come on Pompey Plus. So we'll be heading pitch side and chatting to Tom Chappell. We'll take a deep dive into Colby Bishop's season and give you all the details on how to win some Pompey prizes. But a quick update, after some hurried discussions this afternoon, we've decided we are now going to stay with you for the full pre-match show wherever you are. So even if you're watching on the socials, that stream will now continue. But on to other matters then. Pompey men weren't the only side to secure championship safety. So, despite not registering their first win until their 15th game of the season, Pompey Women's head coach Jay Sadler always maintained his side would not be relegated. And after finding their form in the latter stages of the tournament, he's certainly been proved right. Pompey Women have pulled off an almighty great escape that finished right here at Fratton Park last week with an outstanding 4-0 victory over Blackburn Rovers.
So I thought we were ruthless today, and we've shown a real ruthless streak, probably over the last 6 games, and which has amalgamated in the points needed to stay up. So then when I look at it on the flip side of staying up, and there's a whole lot of emotion there. Obviously it's been a really challenging season, probably chalk and cheese from last season. We've had to dig deep, we've had to fight, we've had to ask a lot of questions of ourselves, but one thing that we've done as a group is maintain that belief, and to finally get it over the line and confirm it is really good.
I couldn't even explain the day. I think towards the end of the game I just fell to my feet. the fight, the year we've had, to come away with a 4-0 win at Fratton Park in front of the fans, like, it was one of the most exciting but one of the most fun days I've had since being a Portsmouth player, and I am so proud of this group to get to where we are now. And if you asked me 6 months ago, I'd have said we were down and out, and the fight we've had and the spirit we've had as a group to come back from Christmas, it's been nothing short of amazing. And like I said, to be captain of this group is an honour, and I've loved every minute of it. And to stay up, it's amazing.
We've really kind of transferred what Pompey means to the city into a footballing kind of ideology, and it's beared its dividends, its rewards for us. Another clean sheet, a second of the season that we're really happy with, but I think the most important thing today was the 3 points and safety for another year in the Championship.
There goes Hornby. In behind Newell. Going to hold her up momentarily, but Hornby's in behind again, and Kirk is there to squeeze it home. That may well be the most important touch of her Portsmouth career so far. Brilliant work in the build-up by Megan Hornby. And Sophie Kirk with an excellently timed run. Able to squeeze it in at that near post. And Portsmouth leads. Primmer. Dahoud, back for Williams, off the crossbar, and then Primmer was there on the follow-up. Here's Kirk, the goal scorer. Oh, and it had to be tipped over by Alex Brooks. I think Kirk was going for goal. Kirk. Searching pass for Hornby. It's found her too. Held up by Lucy Newell. Kirk can dig out the cross, and oh, it was so close. Here comes Hornby, who's away, and in behind, Megan Hornby against their former side. May just keep Portsmouth in the Women's Championship. Results are going in their favour elsewhere. So she's doubled the Blues' advantage here. Barker. Again surging forward, she may just get there ahead of the goalkeeper, and she's round Brooks, and she's able to slot home for Portsmouth's third and make sure of the 3 points this afternoon. Quite simply, she has been magnificent today. It's a nice turn under pressure by Jemima Dahoud. Sophie Kirk just seems to be everywhere. She's released Thompson through the middle as well. Thompson into the penalty area and burying it for her first Portsmouth goal. Never in doubt. Portsmouth have a fourth. And the finish was just as emphatic as this performance has been on the final day. Portsmouth survive what may have seemed like Mission Impossible as recently as last month has now been completed.
So we really do have the best seats in the house on the Pompey Plus balcony, but we decided as a little end of season treat to take you pitch side, and we've been joined by another very special guest. Nelson, can I get a score prediction today? 4-0. 4-0. We're winning 4-0 according to Nelson there. And you can see that we've got Hull City just warming up here. Today's opposition, they've got a massive fight on their hands today with Pompey back towards the Fratton end there as we walk past the South Stand. Hello guys, good afternoon. There you go, a few happy faces there, celebrating what's been an incredible season. And now we make our way over to the corner flag here. You may recognise our next guest on the show. Tom Chappell's YouTube account, 4-0 written all over it, has been providing an alternative Pompey perspective now for the past 10 years. And we're delighted to have him with us on Pompey Plus. Hi, Tom.
10 years makes me feel really old,
It
George.
does, doesn't
Thanks
it?
for that.
Yeah. So this season then, talk me through it. Obviously the pressure's off now. The atmosphere today, how would you sum it up?
Yeah, just walking through the fan zone earlier on, it's just a feeling of relief, I suppose. I think everyone's quite relaxed. I think it's a nice position to be in, knowing that you've had 2 games to enjoy and bask in the glory of another season at this level, or at least another season. So yeah, great atmosphere, but it's what we're renowned for, isn't it? The atmosphere never needs to be in question when it's Pompey. It's always absolutely fantastic, and I'm expecting nothing less today.
Talking of feeling relaxed, I can safely say I'm not. We've just timed this where Hull are taking their shooting drills here, so we could receive some pelters in
Let's hope Abu doesn't send one over this direction.
So how long have you been following Pompey for then? Tell me about the story and what led to this YouTube channel.
Yeah, so since before I can remember, really, it was quite a simple question from my dad when I was younger. It wasn't really a question, it was a statement. It was, you've got 2 choices, you can either support Pompey or go and live somewhere else, and I chose the former option. And we've never really looked back since then. It's been tumultuous, it's been up and down, but I think every Pompey fan around the world, anyone watching will know that it is never easy with Pompey. It's actually, with Pompey, it's never about the glory, it's actually far more important than that, and that's something that we embody season on season.
Yeah, especially this season. It's definitely had its ups and downs. You follow Pompey all over the country.
Yes.
What's it been like for you? It's had some tough times, right?
It's been some tough times, yeah. I think West Brom was awful. Stoke is obviously quite an infamous bad night in the recent history of this football club, really. But then equally, you've had some great days. You've had your Norwich away. We've had Oxford away from home. You know, okay, there's only a handful to pick from in terms of the away games. QPR's another one that I'll remember fondly for a very long time, if not forever. So yeah, it's been an up and down season. Certainly one that was with its challenges and wasn't plain sailing and straightforward. I think off the back of a really successful season last year as well, it's difficult. You almost get used to winning pretty much every game, and it's been almost the complete polar opposite this season. So up and down, but we wouldn't have had it any other way.
And if I had to push you for a player of the season and a goal of the season, Tom, who are we saying?
So I don't think we would have stayed up without Josh Murphy. I think that's really plain and simple. I think that's probably widely documented. You guys, I'm sure, have chatted about it on the panel up there. But I think Conor Ogilvie has a massive shout for player of the season, George. I really do. I just think he's almost got better with every championship appearance he's made. I feel like those two, you know, they would be my 2, and if I was to pick one, I would probably just say it's Josh Murphy, just for his goal contributions. Goal of the season, it's an outside shout. Marco Mani, Oxford away.
I like it.
Loved it. It turns one little touch. It literally, it's
not Dazelle, no?
No. Well, 40th goal of the season, I think that one was in his first. But one touch from what was a half-decent opportunity, that little touch just turns it into a goal-scoring opportunity. So that's why I go with that.
Lovely, Tom. Thank you very much for your time. We've got one more thing to show you, and it's our very own Pompey Plus balcony. If we can just turn the camera around there, you'll see Andy Orford and Paul Robinson standing by. Give us a wave, fellas. There we go, and it's safe to say we've had a few memorable moments ourselves on the balcony, from the good to the bad to the ugly. Let's see some. Hello and a very good evening to you. Welcome to Fratton Park and welcome to Pompey Plus. We're going to be here all evening for you with expert analysis on the game ahead, great insights as well from our punditry team, and the latest news from in and around Fratton. Annabelle says 2-1, brilliant boys, even trained the dog to celebrate.
I tried to buy you from Newport and you went to Man United instead. What was the attraction at Man United and not Portsmouth? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. You can make that. If you're on a night out, who's the one that goes out all dressed up?
Marlon loves dressing up, but you can tell, I mean, look at him. Who wouldn't want to look like Marlon Pat?
I've got to ask, any exclusive signings you want to reveal right now?
I can't do it live on TV, I'm afraid. You'll just have to wait for that, but yeah.
Saying the one man in New York City Pompey Supporters Club here. Well, the one that we know of, actually. So this is Will, by the way. If anyone else in New York...
Well, there's another one, actually.
One
of my lads lives out there. He's a Pompey fan, so they need to get together then.
There you go.
We'll link them up.
It's got them over the line, didn't they? The noise, another classic coming on here. You'll be dancing away to this, but no, incredible.
With me, we have Andy Orford, and we...
Paul Hardyman.
Sorry, I'm trying to go through so much in my head. First of all,
and then, well, she's on loan from then down the road, so she is a scummer, but she's a good scummer. We'll keep her.
I think that's the first time we've used that word on the show, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Let's do it. Let's kick off our Pompey festive quiz then, I reckon. How many goals did Andy Orford score in his 313 appearances for Pompey?
Does it count own goals?
No. I'll give you multiple choice.
There'd be a lot more if it was own goals.
Is it
that iconic game obviously at the Den that Paul Merson played in, and obviously Toddy scored in, which I'm still trying to kick him for now. That was actually my Millwall shirt that I wore that afternoon. So
we're going to have to be quite careful and put that one away, because the fans around us won't understand why you've got a Millwall kit out. Yeah, we are going to be crossing live to Paris, and we're going to be speaking to Andy. Andy, you've lived in Paris now for a couple of years, but I understand you found a bit of a Pompey sanctuary out there.
I haven't. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, there's a little pub round the corner which I discovered a few months ago. The landlord is actually a Pompey fan.
Oh, brilliant.
Colby Bishop with the crowd now, and it's fantastic scenes to see. Look at that. He'd have been dreaming of that moment, coming on, getting a penalty, scoring, exactly what dreams are made of it, and fully deserved.
We are staying up. Championship football for next season has been confirmed at Fratton Park.
It's party time, as you can hear. Place is rocking, but a lot of hurdles to overcome through that season, but we can relax last few games there and enjoy it.
You're out on that pitch, and that clock is ticking so slowly to that 97th minute as it was then. And then you see the players collapse at the end. You know they have given everything for the shirt. It's brilliant.
So lots of great moments up here on the Pompey Plus balcony throughout the season. Some not so good, but there we go. It happens, it's live. But what we're going to do now is see how much attention our pundits have been paying over the course of the past 8 months. What we've got here, guys, is an end-of-term quiz. 3 questions each. If it's a draw, tie-break question at the end. Play along at home as well. Play along at home as well. And I've been told we've even got some cheesy quiz show music to go with it. There we go. I think we've got some. So, question number 1 to you first, Robbo. Who scored the first goal for Pompey this season? A. Freddie Potts, B. Christian Sadie, or C. Elias Sorensen?
He's going to go for C. Elias Sorensen.
Let's find out if you're right. You are correct. Elias Sorensen.
Off the mark, happy days.
Andy, how many signings did Pompey bring in during the January transfer window? Is it
the biggest stitch I've ever had?
A7, B8 or C9?
I think we brought a few in, so I'm going to go B8.
Let's find out. You are correct. Amazing. Didn't expect that. Robbo, on goal difference, which team have Pompey inflicted the heaviest defeats on this season? So A, Swansea, B, Bristol City, or C, Coventry?
C, Coventry.
Let's find out. Swansea, it was 4-0. Bristol City 3-0, Coventry 4-1. There you go, that's where that confusion's coming in. And Andy, Conor Ogilvie has played the most amount of minutes this season for Pompey. Who's second to him? A, Nico Schmid, B, Freddie Potts, or C, Josh Murphy?
Josh Murphy.
Let's find out. Correct, 2-1. So Robbo,
pressure's on Robbo.
Get this one here. You're like the whole fans now. You're feeling the same. Which of these Championship Club stadium is geographically the furthest away from Fratton Park? Is it A, Pride Park, B, Carrow Road, or C, Home Park?
I'll go for B, Carrow Road.
Let's find out. There we go. So, Home Park is 172, Pride Park 186, and Carrow Road 195. So, 2-2 going into the final question, Andy. On the 22nd of November, a power cut prevented Pompey playing against Millwall. Who were the planned centre-back pairing for that match? This is ridiculous. Who came up with that? Is it A, Pack and Poole, B, Towler and Pack, or C, McIntyre and Poole?
That's a tough one. Do you know?
I'd go for A. That'd be my answer.
I'm not doing that then.
Yeah.
I'm going to go B, Towler and Pack.
Let's find out. You should have listened to Robbo. We need the tie-break then.
I just wanted to make it last a bit longer, really. Yeah. Go for a tie-break.
So, whoever's the nearest, you've got one guess each on this. Can you tell me Pompey's average attendance for this season? Andy.
20,022.
Robbo.
I could do the Housery, couldn't I? Go one way or the other, but I think I'll go for 20,100.
Let's find out. Robbo is the winner. Unbelievable stuff.
Well done. That's a pint area. That's a pint
So
area.
congratulations to Robbo there. He gets all the prizes today. But how would you like to earn some of your own Pompey prizes for the end of the season? Here's what to do. So we're giving you the chance to win a signed shirt worth up to £200 and a copy of EA Sports FC 25 on your choice of platform. All you have to do is answer this simple question. It wouldn't be simple for Andy. Which player scored the most recent goal for Pompey's men's team? I'll give you a clue. It was last week. Submit your answer by our regular WhatsApp number 07457 413694 by the kick-off whistle today. That's at 12:30 British summer time on the 3rd of May 2025, and you'll be randomly entered into the draw. And you can only enter once, and by entering you consent to Portsmouth Football Club and its production partner to contact you by WhatsApp if you win. So talking of prizes then, someone who's certainly been a gift for Pompey this season is the magic man himself, Colby Bishop.
Colby Bishop steps up and scores! Bishop is back and Pompey are heading for victory. Ball forward, City in danger of giving the ball away inside their own penalty area, and Bishop's got a chance, a brilliant save, and then Bishop puts the ball in the back of the net. He's found Bishop, it's a chance, it's a goal! Portsmouth have scored! Colby Bishop gets the goal he's been craving. Trying across to the far post, Bishop's pulled half a yard, and Bishop has scored! Colby Bishop heads it back across goal. What's Bishop going to do? Whistle goes. Colby Bishop steps up, scores down the middle. Didn't mess around, just slammed it into the net. Murphy there, Bishop's left foot scores! A hat-trick for Colby Bishop! Oh, Bishop could be in behind here. A chance for Colby Bishop over the goalkeeper, off the post, and into the back of the net. Colby Bishop's done it. What a wonderful finish.
Okay, Andy, it's going to be a season that's memorable for all of us, but for Colby Bishop in particular, and anyone who was there and witnessed that Preston game, even if they were watching on Pompey Plus.
We were here, George, and it was a magic moment for the magic man. It really was. No one expected to see him really this year. Well, last year, before the turn of after Christmas, and when he was announced on the team sheet, I think we were all in shock, all surprised, and then coming on and doing what he did was a wow moment for me. It really was. And fair play to him. He's led the team, he's been that old-fashioned number 9, if you want to say. There aren't many of them about these days. A big focal point in Pompey's season. And I actually think getting him back was give everyone a lift around the place. It really did, and sort of turned the season a little bit for me. That Preston game was sort of the moment we all believed that we could stay up, in my opinion. It was a wonderful day, it was very emotional. And he himself has led the line. All those games, all those assists, all those goals he's got, and a lot more. I have to say, what he gives to this team, what he gives to the supporters, he's been the main man for me this year. And we can see his stats here, Robbo, but technically, what makes Colby Bishop such an incredible number 9? Why do defences hate playing against Colby Bishop?
Really adapted to the modern day number 9, isn't he? I think he occupies the 2 centre-half. The work rate he puts for the team, I mean, especially out of possession, he sets off the press, and you see the way Portsmouth go after teams. They press and they work really hard, and that work rate that he puts in, setting the team off, I think that's the thing that really sets him apart. I think probably what you did see, obviously after the initial impetus of getting back in, perhaps took him a little while, I think, to adapt to the speed of the level, but not only that, the chances that he did get, maybe early on he snatched them a little bit more. I think you probably saw him towards the end of the season, he's taking those chances, like in the Leeds game, didn't get a lot of opportunities, but when that chance did come, he took it, and I think what you've seen is just how vital he is to the team, the way they play, the way John likes to set his team up, and really just made that number 9 shirt his own.
He has indeed. Just over 5 minutes then, Andy, until kick-off. For Pompey, it's done and dusted. But they're still going to want to go out there today and put on a show. They want to win this, don't they? You can see by the team news today. And you can hear it in here now. The atmosphere's building. Like you said, the team that John's picked is full strength, really. You could argue he could go in or he could go in, but he's picked a very, very strong side. They want to go out with a bang, George. And I also think for what the crowd, the supporters have done this season in
in holding this place like it is, I think the players owe the fans one today, and I think they've got to go out and lead this rather than it being the other way round. So I'm no doubt they will. This will be some occasion here today. Last game of the season, home game. Go and put on a show, go and get 3 points.
And Robbo, you've been here on the last day of the season as a player. What's it like, A, when you've got something to play for, and B, when it's all done and dusted? What's the big difference there?
Yeah, when you've got something to play for and the season's still ahead of you, it's an amazing thing, like you saw last year, and you know, the feeling around the place. But today as a player, like I say, as soon as that red blows, that's the starting whistle, you're ready to go really. And like you say, the atmosphere here, the fans, the way they command it, it makes you put in a performance and your professional pride comes in. But not only that, you know, you've got to respect the integrity of the league and other teams around you. So Portsmouth will do the right thing today, I'm sure.
Come to you for a prediction in just a moment in terms of the scores. Let's get your thoughts at home though. Hi, it's Gaz from Malta. I just wanted to say thank you to all at Pompey Plus for a great season of ups and downs. The coverage and build-up has been great, and having guests on has been a good watch also. I wish you all very well-earned rest before another season in the Championship. That's if we get the job, Gaz. 3-1 win for the Blues will be a nice send-off for the players and fans. Play up Pompey. Mark, living in Phoenix, Arizona, enjoying a stress-free game. Portsmouth till I die. So, some score predictions. Nelson says 4-0. David Norris says 3-0. What does Andy Orford say?
2-0 to Pompey. I think it'll be a comfortable 2-0.
Robbo.
I'm going to go 3-1. I think Hull will start full of obviously a team fighting to stay up, but I think Portsmouth will overpower them.
And that was 3-1 there, a 2-0 and a 3-1 in the studio. So we're going to see how it plays out this afternoon. But for the last time this season, Andy, talk us through this atmosphere and this buzz, because we're not going to even get to do this for the next 2 months.
It really is unbelievable, as you can see out there at the moment. It's starting to build. The fans are amazing. Here goes the roar. When you're out there now those goosebumps go and you get going. As soon as that whistle goes, you start to focus. But well done to the supporters this year. They've been immense.
And a sold-out away end also helps to add to that atmosphere, especially when there's so much resting on today's game for them. Although, by some of the fans dressed up as bananas and Mario and Minions, it's hard to tell how they're really feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, it's amazing, isn't it? We feel they're in the relegation fight and how nervous they should be, but maybe they've gone the other approach and they're just trying to say relax. But like I say, the Portsmouth fans, the atmosphere, Fratton Park has been an absolute fortress, and I'm sure the players will want to sign off in style today.
And what are we going to see from Pompey today then, Andy? And one final question, how are they going to approach this game?
Change, George. They've found a way of playing in the Championship this year, which has been successful, especially here at Fratton. It'll be direct, they'll get it out to Murphy, balls will come in the box. Like I said to you earlier, I think they've got a very good, strong partnership today at the back with Shaughnessy and Atkinson playing. They'll get it up to Colby, they'll play off him, they'll get crosses in the box. One thing they'll leave it all out there today. You know, you don't want to go out damp today and it not be great. They want to go out with some style today, so fair play.
Excellent stuff. So, thank you for joining us for the full build-up on Pompey Plus. And if you're watching in the UK, continue watching for audio commentary. And if you're overseas, we'll be bringing you live match coverage. Plus myself, Andy and Robbo will return at half-time. And for one final time of the 2024-2025 Championship season, let's cross over to the action as Pompey take on the Tigers.